Donald Trump.
So-called birther issue, because yesterday I was traveling up to New Hampshire and I got a call. I was in a helicopter. I got a call in the helicopter. I was just about to exit the chopper, and what happens? I hear that Obama finally gave his birth certificate. And I got such credit for that because I accomplished something that nobody else had accomplished. Everybody said it was amazing. They all said, you know, Hillary Clinton tried to get him to do it. Bill Clinton tried to get him to do it. John McCain, who's a wonderful guy, tried to get him to do it. Nobody could get him to do it. And he did it because we went after him hard. We're tough negotiators like this country needs. And I just ask one thing. Why didn't he do it 2 or 3 years ago? Why does he have to put this country through turmoil, which is what it's going through right now? I'll give you an example. Obamacare is a disaster. Lots about litigation. I've been lucky in courts, and I guess a little bit unlucky every once in a while, but overall, I understand the system. And we're going through a process right now that's a disgrace. Either you have it or you don't have it. Why do we have to go through the lower courts? Why don't we just let it go right to the Supreme Court? I have friends. You know, this is a little like the birth certificate, to be honest. Why didn't he do it 3 years ago? I have friends, and a lot of friends, that are destroying their companies over Obamacare. They're preparing for it, but they don't know if it's even going to exist because the court could overrule it very easily, very quickly, and that's it. Now they've spent millions of dollars preparing their company, changing their documents, doing everything that you have to do, years of work, and then the courts could take a vote and lose, and it's over. By the way, that would be a great vote. But it would be over. And you say, why don't you, thank you. You say, why don't you just allow it, it's going to go there. Why don't you just allow it to go to the Supreme Court? If you win, great. If you lose, great. At least we know what the hell we're doing. Now, and I want to thank Phil Ruffin, too, because Phil, you know, he gave us this room. I mean, he's my friend right now. Very, very successful building. You know, we have a building right down the road called Trump International Hotel and Tower, the tallest building in Las Vegas. We got it built, it's doing great, and we're very proud of it. And it's one of the great signs of all time, right down the middle of that strip. If you drive down that strip, what do you see? Trump. Unbelievable. So we've had a great time, and he's been a great partner and a great friend. And I mean, much more importantly, he has been a great friend, and he's a great guy for the state of Nevada. He's a great guy for Las Vegas, and I'm here. And you know, when I was thinking about Obama, I said, hey, I'm going to come here, I'm going to make a speech. And I remember a few years ago when things weren't so good, and Obama did a whole big thing on not coming to Las Vegas. And he didn't do it once, he did it twice. And I have a lot of friends, including Steve Wynn and others, that were not happy, and the banks canceled out, and all sorts of people canceled out. And you know, you look at what you have, and even now, unemployment over 13%. Think of it. And we have a president saying, don't go to Las Vegas. Unemployment, #1 in foreclosures in the nation. Not great. I mean, I don't want to make you people depressed, but this is what you've got. Your visitors have decreased markedly, and the gaming revenue, as you understand, is way down. I mean, it's got some serious problems. And yet, when we have a president, we have to have a cheerleader. You know, I've seen the best politicians. I've dealt with all. Somebody said, but Donald, you're running for president, but do you have any experience in politics? I've dealt with these freaking politicians all my life. And they're fine. Some are fine, some are good, some are honest, some are crooks. I mean, you got them all. They come in all shapes and sizes. They're, you know. But I think it's good. I think, you know, having the perspective that I have as a businessman, and I made a lot of money. I mean, I've done well. They criticize me because I contribute to Democrats also. Excuse me. If you're in New York, we only have Democrats. Somebody said, oh, gee, you didn't contribute to a Republican. Well, the polls come out, and I'm a believer in the polls. The polls come out. The Republican is scheduled to get, if he really does well, 4% of the vote. And then he comes up to my office, Mr. Trump, I think I can get 5 or 6%. They say, you know what, I love you very much. No, thank you. So it's amazing. Now, speaking of polls, as you probably just saw, the Rasmussen poll, which is a great one. You saw it. Just came out, and who's number one? Trump. So, hey, look, I've never done this before, and who the hell knows what's going to happen? It's brutal. And I've always heard, from the time I'm a young guy, that a really successful person cannot run for high political office. And I've heard it 100 times. You can't run. Even now, people are saying, Donald, don't run, please don't run. Thank you, baby, I love you too. They're saying, don't run, please don't run. You know, they're going to go, they're going to say, oh, gee, you weren't nice to these people from China, where I made a lot of money, by the way, with people from China. I made a lot of money. I mean, on one deal, I owned a big chunk of the Bank of America building in San Francisco, a big chunk of another one. Phil could tell you, I did well. Phil, did I do well with the Chinese? He said, you certainly did. And we need somebody. I'm not blaming. You know, when China this year, as an example, is going to make, let's call it profit, simple word, is going to make on this country this year, $300 billion, $300 billion. And then they say, you know, these idiots, they say, oh, but you don't want to free trade and this and that. Of course I don't want to trade when somebody's taking away $300 billion. I want to trade at least where it's a break even, but ideally where we make $300 billion. Why shouldn't we make for a change? China's really done is they manipulate their currencies. They are professionals at manipulation. They are abusing this country like we've never been abused before, except, of course, for OPEC. I always have them. I have them as a special category. Did you see recently where, a couple of days ago, Saudi Arabia said, let's raise the price, let's cut back production. Can you believe it? You're going to be paying $5 and $6 a gallon for gasoline pretty soon. And they want to go in and raise the price of oil because we have nobody in Washington that sits back and said, you're not going to raise that fucking price. You understand? So we're in Libya. You know part of the reason we're in Libya?